Frack on. Welcome everyone to the episode of Frack The Canon. I am joined by the co-host with the most, the coolest motherfucker around this side of the galaxy. I know the other side. Mr. CJ McCree, how you doing, brother?
Hey, what's up, man? Hey, what's up?
So we're gonna talk about what our predictions are for Phase 5. I'm like, people like Phase 4. People have issues. I have no issues with Phase 4. But I want to ignore that rant. Let's just go to what we think we're gonna see in Phase 5.
Okay. Give me some framework here. Give me something to
So
work with.
let's go. So we did this in Spanish version. We went movie by movie, show by show that we have seen announced officially. So the first one coming up is Ant-Man and the Wasp, Quantumanium. So we know we're getting Kang. And in the latest trailer, we saw MODOK. I'm like, we're finally getting MODOK. I never thought in my life I would live this long to see MODOK.
Okay, so to jump on that statement, like, so is that something that you were for? Is that something that you wanted? Like, you wanted MODOK?
I did not want MODOK, but I'm like, I'm getting MODOK. All right, I'll take it. I just never, because it's just a ridiculous idea. It's just face from freaking Nick Jr. or whatever, and then like, whatever. You know what I mean? So I'm like, we're getting freaking MODOK.
I feel you, like, like never mind kid of wildest dreams. You know what I mean? And I think MODOK would be something that they would attempt to translate to the big screen. You know what I mean? Like, now also like that's the reason why I asked you that too, is because it's like, I mean, I've never been a big MODOK fan, so it's like it's never been something that I like wanted either. But like I'm more than unopposed to it. You know what I mean? Like, bring it on. If you think you can do MODOK justice, go ahead, bring it on. He is a Marvel character, man, and I do love me some Marvel. You know what I mean? But like, so as far as like Quantumania, like, how do you feel like? Because this is the first thing in Phase 5, and we're talking about Phase 5 spec. How do you feel like, and you know, you gotta like separate like pre-movie like buzz jargon, like actual, and like, you know, of course all the filmmakers are like, this is the one, this is gonna change everything. You know what I mean? Like, but like, I don't know, how are you assuming that this is going to set the stage for Phase 5?
I mean, because right now all we know that the first Avengers movie in this one, in this phase, is in it King Dynasty. So I'm like, okay, cool. And the saga called Multiverse Saga. So I'm like,
Is that not the next phase? The Avengers movie in the next phase?
Isn't the first one in this one?
I thought this ended. I thought Phase 5 ends with Thunderbolts. I don't actually think there's an Avengers movie announced for Phase 5.
Ooh, let me check. Let me check right now. Let me check on the good old Wikipedia and see what that says.
Because I remember in some of the like what they were talking, they were like, we used to cap phases with Avengers movies, and they're like, I think we're gonna cap the saga with an Avengers movie.
Okay, so here we go. Movie wise, it's gonna cap with Blade, and then television show it's gonna cap with Daredevil Born Again. So movie wise, this is what we have. We have Ant-Man and the Wasp, Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 3, The Marvels, Captain America: New World Order, Thunderbolts, and Blade, movie wise. So okay. We have a lot of magic. We have a lot of supernatural. We have the villains being the good guys, which I have to be kind of like a little bit like a spy movie kind of thing. We have Captain America, which is like another spy kind of thing. We'll get to that to Captain America, but like with this one, I expect to see a lot of time travel, or not time travel, just like I don't know what to expect with this movie because all of the other movies were like romps, you know, like, oh, let's hear the little romp of this little. Okay, now this feels like super serious. To quote Al Gore, I'm super serial.
I don't know what to expect with this movie either. Kang being like a villain who's usually associated with time, I don't typically see anything, or I don't see anything that looks like it has to do with time per se, like in the ad for this movie. But at the same time, like, you know, I mean, the Avengers Endgame, they used the quantum verse to time travel, you know, so it's like on the surface there's some connective tissue, but it's like, you know, a lot remains to be seen. I think they're hedging a lot of their bets on Kang and how effective a villain he's going to be, you know, so it's like the proof is kind of in the pudding here. I think there's a lot of pressure on that man's shoulders, you know, on that man 3's shoulders.
Yeah, because that director Peyton Reed, the comics, like I remember his February last film was Bring It On, which I love. Bring It On, like Oscar classic. I'm not being facetious. I really like that movie a lot. But yeah, I don't know what to expect with. I mean, just that we're getting this, we're bringing in the quantum realm, we're bringing in time travel. I'm like, I don't know what this is because at least at the end, well, that's not true. I lie. There is a little bit of a. I was thinking there's kind of a through thread. Like I think what the first phase is. Phase one was like Agent Coulson and Shield, right? And then phase two was the Stone. The phase three, phase two and three was the Stone, pretty much, right? And then Thanos at the end. So I'm like, I don't know what we're doing right here. I did notice in the previous phase, we introduced or reintroduced a bunch of new characters. So I'm like, what is this phase about?
Right. Now also like grief too. That
Yes.
was like the theme of a lot of phase four movies was grief and dealing with grief and
Mhm.
loss and all of that. Like that was a lot of phase four movies had to do with that. Also like introducing the idea of the multiverse too was something that was in phase four. Like a lot of things mention that, you know what I mean? Like even like candidly, you know what I mean? Like just offhand, it's like, oh, this isn't even about this, but all of a sudden Miss Marvel is mentioning like some kind of other dimension, you know what I mean? It's like, what? Where'd that come from?
Yeah, that's right. I forgot about that.
Yeah, you know what I mean? So it's like, yeah, they're kind of interested. I mean, they call it the multiverse saga. And my brain keeps going back to that. Like, well, with the marketing, they call the last one the Infinity Saga. And like you just said, phase two was kind of like introducing the stones. Like it was a while before we dove into the meat of the Infinity Saga. So my thinking is they call this the multiverse saga. Now we're in the second phase of that,
Mhm.
or we're about to be. So I expect them to begin to dive into it. Is season two of Loki in phase five?
Yes, it is.
Okay,
Yes, it is.
okay. Because I expect them to, but yeah, we can get to that in a second. But yeah, I liked Jonathan. Speaking of Loki, I liked Jonathan Majors in Loki season one. At the end of it, you know what I mean. Like I like Jonathan Majors. Period. I think he's a great actor, and I can't wait to see how they treat Kang. Like, is this the first of many Kangs? Like, is this the same Kang we're gonna see throughout phase five and six, or are there gonna be like a bunch of versions of him? You know what I mean? Like, is this just the first one? Like, does this Kang make it out of this movie?
Ooh,
And then are
interesting.
there going to be like a bunch of different other versions of Kang that we just keep popping up, bumping up into, you know?
That is interesting. I like that. That is interesting because I didn't picture that until you said that right now. That he
Mm.
could because he does say which he be my variants in
Yeah.
season one. The man who the one who remains was like, which, so I'm like, okay, dude, like, because it's a superhero movie. It's a feel good movie. Maybe they take down one, but there's other Kangs. Maybe they be this Kang, but we see other Kangs coming up from the multiverse from the different branches. Because isn't it rumored that Loki's showing up, or am I just
I think that is a rumor. Um, that is, sorry, I'm just responding to T Dubs in the chat. Um, I
oh,
think that is rumored, and that'd be cool if it was true. It seems like there's a lot going on in the film itself, you know what I mean? Like, but it's like it's hard to tell even what's going on, you know what I mean? Like, I still don't know what Kang's about, you know, in this movie, you know what I mean? Like, it's like I just know that he's in it.
true. I'm gonna say I yeah with Ant-Man, I'm just excited. I'm like, this is cool. I'm just like, okay, I'm excited for it. Kang the Conqueror. Maybe we'll see Iron Lad. Maybe. Um,
That would be interesting too, and especially if if it's a different version of him, you know.
exactly. That would be cool too. I have a feeling. Um, sorry, I'm answering too. I'm multitasking.
Cool. Yeah, I'm
Multitasking
like,
saga.
yeah, I was like using my phone, like that, like it's quicker for you to use your fingers. Your fingers.
Yes, the Finger Saga.
But
Oh,
you know what? But my thing is like, will this be effective?
good
Uh,
question. Mm-hmm.
will this be an effective introduction? You know what I mean? Like, and that's my thing on this. You know what I mean? Because and then you were saying something before. You know what I mean about this director. He's known for comedies. The first two Ant-Mans are comedies. You know what I mean? Like they're comedy movies. Like more so than their action or superhero movies. You know what I mean? Like I would say that they're like the comedy genre more so than like even the Guardians of the Galaxy movies, which have a lot of humor in them.
I would agree. Yeah, definitely. Any other comments on Quantumania before we move on to the next Marvel movie?
Yeah, nothing specific left on Quantumania that I got to
Okay.
bash my head against. Um,
Okay.
yeah,
Cool.
hopefully,
Mhm.
I hope. I guess my hope for Quantumania is kind of what we were just talking about. I hope it's an effective introduction to the Phases villain, and I hope it introduces us to something concept too. You know what I mean? Like I always love lore diving in these types of movies. You know what I mean? Like
Mhm.
show tell me something cool about the MCU that like I can chew on for a bit, you know what I mean? Like Eternals, you know what I mean? Here's something that dove way back into like the creation of the MCU of like their universe, you know what I mean? Like that's something cool to chew on, you know?
As long as the answer things like why is there a giant hand sticking out of the earth?
Or at least acknowledge it, right? At
Yes,
least
acknowledge it. I mean,
acknowledge
she'll kind of acknowledge it.
like,
Yeah.
hey, here's something another movie, so you know that this is a connected universe, you know.
All right. Moving on to Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 3. I'm not a big fan of these movies. Like I've seen them once because I'm a Marvel like whore, but I'm not the biggest fans of them. I watch them on the theaters, give Marvel my money. But and I mean, I don't dislike them. I just like I cried both times. um, I just like from what I saw in this trailer, I'm like, okay, this one seems a lot more heavy than the first two. I don't know much about the High Evolutionary. I know he was a villain in Spider-Man Unlimited or whatever, but that's
Mhm.
about it. And then he mutated animals to be like hybrid animal humans or whatever.
I
Um,
mean, as I understand the high evolutionary, he reminds me a lot. He seems to me like an alien version of like you know what I mean. Mr. Sinister is his whole thing is experimentation on mutants, whereas
right.
like I feel like high evolutionary is on the same thing, but just like with different beings. You know what I mean, or different creatures of that nature. um, what up, T
Well,
Dubs?
we are joined by T Dubs himself, Mr. Tyler Ruiz. How you doing, sir?
Yo,
This was like a last minute thing. So right now we're talking about. We already talked about Quantumania. We're talking about Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 3. What we know about the High Evolutionary. What are your thoughts? What do you expect on Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 3?
I expect tragedy, lots of it, because Dave Bautista said his last time is Drax. That makes me really sad. Um, the High Evolutionary is such a complex character, though. I hope it's not like overly complex.
Well, what do you know about him? Like CJ was saying, like he is kind of a take on Mr. Sinister. And now you say that, CJ, I think I read that he did study under Mr. Sinister, like in the day, like I guess he's a student of Mr. Sinister,
I
according
didn't
to
know.
Wikipedia.
I got. Oh, you said you were checking. You were looking at that on Wikipedia.
Yeah.
I got
Um,
you. Yeah, I didn't know that much. I just knew he had like a similar motif. Like Mr. Sinister's thing was like experimentation on mutants and like trying to create like more perfect beings and all that kind of thing. I know he had a penchant for Jean Grey and Scott Summers or whatever, but and I just felt like, yeah, the High Evolutionary was kind of on similar stuff, splicing because he's I believe he's responsible for Rocket for what Rocket is.
I
Yeah.
don't know. Is he?
Well, I think that's what they're doing in the MCU. I don't know if he is, but that's what he did. Is like he wanted to make worlds of like beings he created. And that's similar to Mr. Sinister too, because Mr. Sinister would like mess with mutant genes.
Mhm.
Well, what you were saying before Tyler pops on, the kind of counterpoint to that, I do like the Guardians movies a lot, but I came onto it like when they announced Guardians of the Galaxy, I had just become a recent Guardians comic fan. Like somebody had put me onto like the Marvel space side, which is something I kind of avoided a lot. I like it, I talked to Renee about it for a time. Listen, I like my sci-fi movies and I like my comic book stuff, but I don't like them mixed together. You know what I mean? Like I don't want to co-mingle. I don't want to read space comic stuff. You know what I mean? I want Earth space. But I did start to get into the space side, and I got into the Guardian. Like I think it was around, like it was either 2007 or 2008 kind of run. They spun out of what's that?
Was that Brian Michael Bendis' run?
No. It was Brian Michael Bendis did after the movie got popular. They put Brian Michael Bendis on it, and he did a version of the comic that was kind of like what the movies were.
Oh, okay.
Like it was kind of like made it more in line with the movies were, but this was pre him. This is kind of what the movies team is based on, because there's like one that's like way older than this, but this is the one that I kind of got into, and it spins out of the Annihilation and Annihilation what do you call those events, event comic books, you know what I mean? It spins out of Annihilation Conquest event, and so I got super into that and super into that team. So then I was keen to get into the movies when they came out. So yeah, like I really like the Guardian. It's a little different from the comics. Like yeah, it is. There it is.
Hold it up. Give me 1 second.
Annihilation.
Yeah, and I highly recommend those both of those events. By the way, like Annihilation is great, and I actually like Annihilation Conquest a little bit more. I'm a little biased. I kind of like Ultron as a villain, and they bring him in there, and I also love Annihilus as a villain too. Like yeah, and they work well together. But my thing on that with the High Evolutionary, and diving back into like my love for the comic Guardians, I wondered when the first Guardians movie came out, like how are they going to do this, because their intro, their origin in the comics is so convoluted and it's so tied into that event, and they did kind of like a truncated version, not of that. They did kind of like their own version to kind of like get you up to speed on these characters in the movie. I kind of feel like with what Tyler was saying, like how complicated the High Evolutionary is, I kind of feel like they'll probably do something like that in this movie. You know what I mean? Like they kind of basically simplified the Guardians origin. I don't know why they wouldn't do the same for this, especially with James Gunn's style, how he's kind of been approaching these movies, it seems like something he might do or downplay or not focus on as much, but he's in the movie, kind of a thing. I do agree with what Tyler said. I expect tears, I expect this to jerk some tears out.
I expect a lot to just seeing the trailer. I'm like, you're like, what the heck? That just looks like really sad. I'm like, okay, someone's gonna die. Someone that I care about is gonna die. Not no tree. All right, something that I forgot about too. Who the frack is Adam Warlock? Like I know I see him every show and then, and like it's always been like he's gonna bring up Adam Warlock. I'm like, I don't know who he is in the comics. Who is he, and why do people are so like Adam Warlock? Ugh.
He's central to Infinity Gauntlet. He and like Silver Surfer are like the two who took on Thanos like alone after Thanos like wiped out everyone.
But doesn't he have one of the stones? Oh, I'm sorry, in the comics it's the gems. Doesn't he have one of the gems in his body, in his forehead?
The soul gem. And then he gets the gauntlet in Infinity Crusade, I think it was.
Okay.
And then he rescues everyone from the Soul Stone using the gauntlet.
Okay. Yeah, I didn't know that, because again, I like CJ, I still don't read space comics except for Green Lantern, which doesn't count because he's on Earth a lot. And I just started reading Avengers till like Bendis jumped on, and he was writing Avengers Disassembled, and then I kind of was like, when I'm like, all right, but that's why again, I did it. I'm like, who is? I keep seeing him show up every now and then. I'm like, oh, yeah, I know who he is, but I don't know who he is. If that makes sense.
Yeah.
Okay.
They teased him at the end of Guardians of the Galaxy Vol. 2, and everyone was like, "Oh my God, he's gonna be in Infinity War or whatever they called it."
That's
And,
right. I forgot about that rumor.
yeah, and then then James Gunn had the hiring issue or the firing issue with Disney, and then plans changed, I assume.
And then war were declared.
War were declared.
War declared.
Yeah, I'm excited to see. Well, I'm interested to see what they do with Adam Warlock, introducing him now after the Infinity Saga is over. You know what I mean? Like, because of the significance that he has to defeating Thanos in the comics. You know what I mean? And to the Infinity Stones as a whole, and now they seem to be downplaying what the Infinity Stones even are, or well, I mean, they kind of are. What they don't exist anymore, right? In the universe,
or paperweights in Loki.
yeah, right, paperweights and Loki, like they're just kind of being downplayed in general. Even when we do see them now, like, and when we do see them, they're in like different universes, and I'm thinking of like, what if, right? Like, they had that like Infinity Crusher thing, and then it's like, oh, this is a different universe, so the rules are different, kind of a thing, and it's just like, oh, okay, well, all right, well, they're kind of like meaningless, or they mean whatever the writer wants them to mean, kind of thing. So with that being said, I am interested. He's an incredibly powerful character in the comics, so I am interested to see how that translates to the screen, and what happens. I feel like it'll end up kind of like how Endgame went. I mean, some characters may die, some characters may just leave. You know what I mean? Like, I think a lot of the actors on the production side, a lot of the actors were with this because James Gunn was tied to this, and now obviously he's on the bigger and better things, or bigger and different. So what I mean? Like, so not all these actors are down, but I feel like some of the actors, like Thor is still doing Marvel movies. You know what I mean? I think some of these actors might be able to be swayed back. Batista probably not. You know what I mean? But I don't know. Who knows? Maybe Chris Pratt. What's his? What am I? Bradley Cooper is just a voice. You know what I mean? Like, that's a huge paycheck to just sit in the studio.
Vin Diesel.
Yeah, Vin Diesel, right?
Oh, that's right. I forgot about that guy.
Never forget his lines, that guy. You know what I mean? Like,
wait, what's my line?
Right.
Is
it I or we?
Right, exactly.
No, dude, it's you, man. It's you. All right. Any other comments? Any other thoughts on Adam Guardians of the Galaxy before we move on to the next one? The next movie.
Oh, just what the last comment. The movie outfit, the outfits, man, the outfits. I've wanted them for so long. As a comic, as I was just saying, I like the comics. I've wanted them for so long, and every MCU project has found a way to at least like jokingly include the OG comic outfit, like even as like just an homage, you know what I mean? Like, from Captain America all the way to freaking Scarlet Witch and WandaVision, like we've seen a representation of the OG comic outfits, and I've wanted that like since the first Guardians. I'm like, dude, like, I don't care if it's a joke or whatever, like just give us the outfits. And when I saw that in the trailer, like, oh my gosh, like I was like, the outfits, dude, like the outfits, they put on the outfits.
All right, Tyler, anything?
No, that's it. So far, I'll add though, it's like my favorite trailer of anything Phase 5.
Okay. The next movie is The Marvels. I don't know what to expect about this one. I'm just like, the first movie was not. I wasn't.
The show?
No, the movie.
Captain Marvel.
Yeah, the Captain Marvel movie. I was just like,
I wasn't. Movie?
What?
It's gonna be a movie?
Yeah, the Marvel. Yeah, it's a movie.
So the Marvels is like Captain Marvel 2.
Yeah,
Miss Marvel, and Photon.
Hmm.
So I'm like, I don't know what to expect, because I'm like, the movie, I didn't hate it, but I was disappointed. I'm like, I had just issues as a movie maker. I'm like, all right, whatever. Just like questions that never got answered. And then the show too. again, it was cool. I like this. Actually, I like seeing the not Muslim. Is it Muslim? But yeah, they were Muslim,
They're
right?
Muslim. Yeah.
The Muslim culture. Oh, that's cool. I did not know that. That's pretty cool. All right, awesome. I just had like, I forget what we said, but I'm just being like, I wanted to like it, but I didn't like it. There were just things that I'm like, why this? Why this? Why this?
Yeah.
I don't feel like I know who that character is. Like she's me. Like Kamala Khan. She's just a fangirl who got powers. So like that's me. I get that, but I'm like, I don't know if I want to see a movie of all these together.
Right.
But that's just me. I'm not saying that. Just the first movie, we left a bad taste in my mouth.
I would not see. I would agree, and it's like I have a like for some of the reason why it's really hard for me to like a Spider-Man movie, because I really like Spider-Man, and so like I'm gonna see everything wrong with the Spider-Man movie. Whenever I watch a Spider-Man movie, I'm gonna see everything wrong with it before. And I'll enjoy the cool things, but like I'll mostly see the problems. And before Captain Marvel came out, like I like the character of Carol Danvers a lot too. You know what I mean? Like, so before that movie came out, I was like super stoked, like, yeah, dude, like I really want to see this. I really want to see it done right. I was also worried about because she has a really convoluted origin too. So I was like, I was worried about that. And you know, I came away like kind of how you're saying, like I came away a bit disappointed. Like I don't hate the movie. It's all right. But it's like it's a movie that I really want to like, and that's I feel like that's a similar problem that I will have going into the Marvels. It's something like Captain Marvel is a character that I want them to get right. And I don't I like Alison Brie. Is that her name? What is her name? Brie Larson. Some kind of cheese.
Right.
She was a Community too, though, in an episode.
Brie Larson, really?
Yeah.
Wow.
But I like Brie Larson. I think she's a great actress. You know what I mean? Envy Adams all day. I like that character, and like I want them to do it right. And what I wanted was them to do a good Captain Marvel story, but like I'm more worried about that now because they shoved like more characters into it that are kind of sharing the top billing. You know what I mean? Like, and nothing that I've seen from both the first Captain Marvel and Miss Marvel the show gives me any kind of faith that they're gonna nail this. You know what I mean? Like, it's like all I have right now open. You know, maybe the trailer will kind of like show me something really cool, but like, you know, right now, like there's nothing like that this movie has in it that gives me a lot of faith that it's gonna be great.
Tyler?
Yeah, exactly what CJ said. I like the character in the comics. Carol Danvers is awesome. And why I was hoping they got her right is because she's like head of Sword. I was hoping we'd see more like Sword, and their like interception of space threats. I thought that would open up a whole new avenue of things to the MCU, but they just they didn't stick the landing in any of the properties so far. Exactly what CJ said, and of everything in Phase 5, like this one is the one I'm worried about most.
And now that I think about it too, I was like, isn't Secret Invasion part like because they set up something I forgot CJ said earlier.
Thunderbolts.
Not Thunderbolts, was that she goes off to dimension. She mentions something about a dimension in Shang-Chi in the post credit. So I'm like, where is she gonna go?
Oh, yeah. Yeah, we don't know that
yeah. And then like when she appears in Ms. Marvel, it's like wherever like she's in the middle of a fight. So I'm like, all right, is that gonna answer this question? It better answer these questions. And then also Secret Invasion with the Skrulls, because she's all buddy with the Skrulls.
Yeah.
Like, how is that gonna tie in? Which is another Phase 5 TV show we'll talk about later.
Right.
But I'm like, all right, it's kind of just like,
yeah.
What is gonna, that's why I'm nervous for this one, because I'm like, please don't mess it up. Because again, I like Carol Danvers' suit before it changed. But I'm just like, I don't know. I don't want it. I don't know what to expect with this movie. So I'm like, but again, I'm not the biggest Kamala Khan fan, or I do like Carol Danvers. I do like that character. But I'm like, all right, we'll see.
Yeah, just like everything else in Phase 5. It's like, oh, what was the setup in 4? And you have to like get the Rolodex of like all the references that happened. What was it? What show? And yeah, this is the one though I don't think they're gonna pull off. I'll say.
Yeah, I certainly don't have a lot of. I don't have a lot of faith. I have a lot of hope, but I don't have a lot of faith, though. You what I mean. One of the, and I don't want to get bogged down and like talk about what I didn't like about previous phases because that's not what this video is about. But one thing I wanted was like I wanted her to have a bit of a challenge. You know what I mean? That was one of the rumors, and I don't think it's gonna happen. But one of the theories like back in the day was them like talking about, well, what if Rogue was in like the Captain Marvel sequel? And I thought that would have been so cool because like one of Captain Marvel's problems is she's like too powerful to pose to like have a threat like be posed to her, you know what I mean? And it's like characters like that can work like physical threat, you know what I mean? They don't have to have a physical threat to have something that is a threat to them, you know what I mean? Like, Superman has been doing it for 100 years, you know what I mean? But it's also something that pushes people away from Superman too. But you know what I mean? But here's a character that would be a perfect foil for Captain Marvel, you know what I mean? Captain Marvel infinitely powerful, and then you have a character who steals power, you know what I mean? Like that would work so well. And I don't think that's gonna happen because this is loaded with.
I do. I'll tell you why. The post-credit scene of Miss Marvel is mutants. Na-na-na-na-na. Like it's like that. Why would you do that unless you actually have a mutant in it? So what mutant would it be? It'd have to be Rogue. So you are boosting my excitement for this show, this movie, or whatever it is now.
Listen, from your lips to God's ears, man. I hope that is. I hope that is true. I would love to be in this movie, The Marvels, dude, or just introduce the period. But I would love to see her as opposition to Captain Marvel. I think she is the perfect villain for this specific Captain Marvel. You know what I mean? Like, yeah, and that would raise this movie to a 10. I don't care how terrible it is. It'd be a 10. But put Rogue in there for 5 minutes. You know what I mean?
She has to have a southern accent and look like the 90s Rogue.
Agreed. Oh yeah, and then they had that little riff. Put the little X-Men riff back in there. But that would be great, and it'd be great setup for some pre-X-Men stuff too. You know what I mean? Like, okay, this is where she gets the powers of being able to fly around and super strength and all that. But yeah,
I don't think we're gonna get it. Like, because then you have to explain the X-Men, explain the Brotherhood of Mutants. I don't think there's no time for that. I think they're gonna be explained for most of it. Go ahead.
When did Deadpool 3 come out? Is that before Marvels? That could be something.
No, it's after Marvels. So yeah, so this year it's Guardians of the Galaxy, Quantumania, and the Marvels, and then next year is the other 3 movies, Phase 5. So yeah, so the next movie in 2024 is Captain America: New World Order. I'm excited for this one, just because the rumors of we're gonna see She-Hulk in it. That's why I'm excited. Go ahead.
The rumors of this movie. Like I have no idea what to think about the rumors of this movie because they're like talking about they're gonna be fighting the leader and like.
But that's confirmed though, right? Like yeah, because he was in
D23. Oh yeah. That is confirmed. That is
D23 confirmed it.
Yeah, and then maybe like Hulk infused kind of villains or something like that trips me out because I'm just like, dude, how in the world is Sam Wilson a foil for the leader? I just can't wrap my head around this. Like how Wilson a foil for the leader or vice versa, you know what I mean?
Telling you, because the leader hates black superheroes. He's a racist. You can be green or white, but not black.
So
that's so stupid. I'm so sorry.
No, there's multiple villains though too, because apparently like Harrison Ford's in it too.
Yeah, that's a rumor too that he got. Well, I don't know. It got confirmed that he's in the MCU, but he's playing Thunderbolt Ross.
Yeah. So
okay.
Set up for Thunderbolts. I mentioned Secret Invasion, but also if this is another launching point because Thunderbolt Ross apparently, if he is becoming Red Hulk, a big part of that will be in New World Order.
That would make sense. That would make sense to bring in that would make sense for the leader and She-Hulk.
Yeah,
Maybe Hulk. I don't know.
and Scar, who hopefully has
Yeah,
got-
and Scar. Maybe they're setting up the Agents of Smash.
Oh, yeah, we need A-Bomb then.
Hey Bob, yeah. I mean, yeah, it's weird. I like this one. I mean, it's far enough out that like there's not much that we know about it, but I mean, I gotta feel like Bucky's gonna be in it too, right? Like I know he'll be in Thunderbolts.
Yeah, he's done, but
But
I
it's
don't
like
think yeah. Go ahead.
maybe they'll tee up some kind of thing from this to there. I just feel like, but like what's it? Sebastian Stan is like this like great asset that the MCU kind of has right now, and like Bucky, right?
Great
It's like
asset.
right. He's like here's this guy that like he's willing and ready to kind of and he's a character that they haven't got thrown away yet, and it's like he can kind of just show up in whatever, you know what I mean? Like Bucky, like there's no cap anymore, so he's just kind of, you know what I mean? Like who knows when we're gonna see Bucky around, you know?
Especially the Falcon chemistry.
Yeah. Also,
Right. Exactly.
well, looking at Wikipedia too, supposedly Carl Martian Manhunter from the Justice League cartoon. Carl, what's his name? Sorry.
Oh,
Carl Lumbly.
Lumley,
Is
yeah.
gonna come back as playing Isaiah Bradley, the Black Captain America.
Nice.
So I'm like, the more I think about it, the more I'm like, all right, I think they're gonna be, like Tyler said, make a Hulk, do a kind of a Hulk villain, Hulk infused villain, introduce Red Hulk, introduce the anti-agent of Smash or whatever, something like that.
So they kind of that's interesting. If they have him in there, and then they're working on these Hulk like fused villains, and it's kind of a take on because like the show was like a take on like here let's further the search for the super soldier serum kind of a thing, you know what I mean? And like and the new kind of an arms race kind of a thing that they have with super powered individuals and kind of controlling that. So that would be an interesting sort of like take off of that plot and then like kind of usher it into this new Captain America. So like now, so the super soldiers, they got these gamma powered, I don't know, villains or what have you. That's kind of doing a similar thing. I'm still like on the like Sam Wilson fighting Hulk characters, whatever. But you know what I mean. I mean he held his own against some super soldiers, I guess. And now he's got vibranium wings, so some guy's not gonna rip him off. I'm assuming, but
I feel like
I think it'd be interesting. And Sam Wilson is something like Sam Wilson and Bucky, such a huge dose of them in Falcon and Winter Soldier, like that. I guess I wouldn't feel shorted if their movie is kind of co-opted by other characters, like you know what I mean, like She-Hulk and Red Hulk and like and other stuff like that. Like this whole like I don't know Hulk plot. You know what I mean? It's like we got a decent amount of them and their home life and you know what I mean, the boat and all that. You know what I mean? Like. So that'd be cool. I guess I'd be all right with that.
All right. What about you, Tyler? Anything else?
No. I don't know enough about it. I just what CJ was talking about, I was just really starting to think though, like, man, these movies are getting messy because there's so many characters. And they don't have this setup like Phase 1 had, where it was like this movie is this character, and then this movie. Like sometimes a character is just like a post-credit scene, and now they're like, hey, remember that thing? Like, yeah, and it's like, oh, okay, I'm supposed to care about these guys now.
Yeah, like they had like in phase 1 and 2, like there were kind of like themes that were consistent with characters because each character for the most part represented a franchise, I guess, right? So it's like there's an Iron Man franchise, and so like Iron Man movies deal with this side of what we know of the MCU so far, and you'll see this kind of thing in Iron Man movies, and then here's Captain America movies, and you're going to deal with the political things and stuff in Captain America movies, and that's the Captain America legacy kind of thing. And so now, like you're saying, like, well, there's so many franchises, so many characters, and now like ideas aren't unique to those characters or franchises anymore. You know what I mean? So it's like you can get magic stuff outside of a Doctor Strange movie. You know what I mean? Like you can get Hulk stuff. You know what I mean? Like in a Captain America movie. You know what I mean? Like so. I don't know. It's like it's interesting. And it's interesting you say that because yeah, it becomes increasingly hard to follow and hard to remember like certain things. Like who who knew who the kid was at the end of Endgame? You know what I mean? Everybody had to Wikipedia that to find out it was from Iron
Oh,
Man
the
3.
funeral. Yeah.
Yeah. It's like nobody knew who that kid was.
He looks way different too.
Exactly. Like oh, one thing I did want to add with the Isaiah Bradley, like I do it'd be interesting if we get any kind of like hint of Patriot in this. You know what I mean?
Which is, I'm like, what phase is that going to be? And I have a theory for that later. But I'll say now. I think it's going to be the next phase after the multiverse saga. I think it'll be Dark Reign,
Yeah.
Dark Avengers, and that will be Young Avengers. Which leads me into the next movie, Thunderbolts, which is also next year, 2024.
Oh wow, that's that close actually.
Yeah. I just hate it's weird because I hate evil twin villains. But I'm like, God, these guys really. But it's kind of fun too. It's kind of interesting. But I just like, I didn't notice it until CJ pointed it, or Tyler. I think both of you said it around the same time. But I'm like, they all have the same power, or they all come from the same movie. None of them has different powers except for Ghost. And now the more I'm like, yeah, you're right. I still want to see it. I still want to see like the bad guys turn good, but I don't think any of those characters are really like evil. Like or I mean, Marvel does that thing where they make learn in film school is like humanize the villain, give the protagonist a reason for being blah blah blah. And Marvel does that good. So I'm like, they're not really bad. They're just like misunderstood.
There were certainly more anti-heroes than they are. But you know, I feel like the comic Thunderbolts they weren't necessarily the Suicide Squad. You know what I mean? They weren't necessarily Marvel Suicide Squad, where Suicide Squad is like guys like that are made to do good things. You know what I mean? Like whereas like the Thunderbolts, like they had bad guys in there. But they were also like, you know what I mean? There were also like angel-sided characters in there. Like they were like a little more complicated than Marvel's Suicide Squad, I always felt. But this team, I do definitely feel like there's something to that. Like you mentioned Dark Reign. Like this team definitely feels like they could be like this kind of like B-level event, you know what I mean? Like Walmart Avengers kind of a thing, you know what I mean? Like you got like this like fake Captain America guy, you know what I mean? You got like Black Widow's little sister, you know what I mean? You got like I forgot who else is in this, but
I know
like,
I know Ghost is in it.
Yeah, Ghost,
Red Guardian.
And Ghost is you can kind of like equate them to like Ant-Man. They come from that franchise, but they have like this similar like you can't touch me kind of power kind of a thing. You know what I mean? Like, I do wonder, and I still hold out hope that Abomination will be a part of it. He's not announced as in this movie, but it is one character that I always felt like, oh, well, super fits. But obviously, if they're doing Red Hulk, you don't need an Abomination either. You know what I mean? Like, and that could be something that they're keeping in their pocket. Before they announced this movie, I really wanted Justin Hammer to be in this.
I do too. We haven't seen him in a long time, and
that actor is like such a wasted talent in the MCU. You know what I mean? Like, I just like, dude, bring him back. He was like such a great. If their theme is like low rent, like Avengers, which it kind of like seems like what they are. Like, Justin Hammer would have been a perfect like fake Iron Man kind of like to bring in, you know. But also like, I love that actor though too.
What about that performance? It reminded me of something I went to film school with. CJ knows what I'm talking about. I'm like, dude, that is that person to a T.
Yeah.
We won't mention it, but I'm like, dude, that's him. That's that guy. Like his mannerisms, I'm like, dude, did he go to Brooks with us? Because he looked. I'm sorry, but I would love that. I hope this is a comedy though. Like, I mean, that's kind of what I'm hoping for. But I don't know. I mean, what else could it be though? Like, I guess it could be like a serious.
I'm pretty sure it's gonna be a comedy too, because it's getting bleaker and bleaker, especially since Guardians is potentially wrapping, and Ant-Man is potentially wrapping. Those are two heavy hitting comedy franchises. But about the comedy, you made me really think. Like, it's a small roster, and like in the comics, the Thunderbolts actually has a lot of members, including like Deadpool, like and Wolverine at like one-off comics or whatever. I think Deadpool was a longtime member a couple years ago. So there's a potential tie-in opportunity there. I just think we don't have the full picture yet. I think there's going to be more members added, potentially Abomination, or even like Thunderbolt Ross in his form that I don't want to say because it's potentially spoilery to people who don't know the comics. Yeah, I think the Ghost being the only different power set, it exposes like the potential lack of roster fill-ins.
Yeah, I think it'll be.
Go ahead.
I think it'll be interesting, but I do think, yeah, like I hope we don't run into an issue like the first Suicide Squad film where it's like, who's our bad guy? Like some freaking god from like thousands, and who were using to fight it? A bunch of people and bats and freaking like are we gonna run into something like that? Like at least have like a bad guy that's like similarly powered, or what I mean, like something that feels like they could take on.
I thought the bad guy in the first Suicide Squad was a green portal going into the sky.
It kind of was, yeah. It kind of was.
Any other comments? Any other thoughts on Thunderbolts?
Not really. That's interesting. I never thought of it as a comedy before, but I do think that's interesting with what you guys were saying, like with them Guardians decreasing, with Ant-Man kind of decreasing. You do kind of need that. I was thinking it'd be a little more hard hitting, just because, but like you said, we're getting heavy handed. Like we'll have Captain America right before that, so we might need something lighter. I feel like this is like the big team up of the phase, though. You know what I mean? Whereas like we would normally get in Avengers, so I feel like this will a lot of me feels like there will be a lot of parallels to what Avengers was in this, like but kind of trying to like turn it on its head a bit, like because they're like, because I don't know, they just kind of feel like this anti-Avengers kind of team, you know what I mean? Like, so like a lot of me, a part of me feels like they'll poke fun at that whole franchise with this kind of like, yeah, we're Avengers would do this, but we're like this team, you know what I mean? I wonder if we'll even get that team up shot, like, or a version of that team up shot, the spin around that everybody like remembers so fondly, you know what I mean? Or like making fun of that even too.
The one thing I want to say is I forgot about Ghost existed. I'm like, oh yeah, she was a cool character. I remember thinking, where did she go? Where did she go off to? And now she's back. And I like that actress too. So I'm like I like she's the good actress. So I'm like, good to see you back, Ghost. Like I'm happy for her.
And maybe Lawrence Fishburne will be tagging along.
Oh my god. Alrighty. The next movie and the final movie in Phase 5, it's Blade. No, it's not even. But how do you guys feel about that? I'm excited because I'm like, all right, we're seeing Blade again, but is that Wesley Snipes? I don't know. But
I'm super iffy on Blade. I'm super iffy. And there's many reasons. Like one, like the way it like seemed to have come about. There could have been more background stuff going on, but like the way it was just like, oh, Mahershala Ali was like, hey, Kevin Feige, I want to be Blade. And he's all like, oh, you just won an Oscar? Yeah, totally, you can be Blade. Like, kind of like, and then it's like, kind of spun out of that, coupled with there seems to be a lot of like delays with it and stuff, like, and like, oh, they were trying to find a director, and then this director couldn't do it, and then they were trying to put the story together, and then they were working on it and stuff, like how like a lot of times like I hear it like I remember when they announced Doctor Strange in the Multiverse of Madness, right? And then much later we hear that they're working on the script, right? And it's just like, you had this cool ass title, like you didn't have a story to go behind it, like freaking, it was like title first, you know what I mean? Like, I don't know, a lot of MCU stuff to me feels like ass backwards, like the way they do certain things, you know what I mean? Like And this just feels similar. So it like lends it feeds into how I feel about the movie. You know what I mean? I loved the first 3 Blade movies, all of them. Yes, even the bad one. But and
Oh,
I
that
like
one.
yeah, and I like the character of Blade. And I like Mahershala Ali. You know what I mean? And all that. I like the MCU. I think it's interesting. I think it's interesting that we're getting a character about vampires this far into the MCU and without us knowing anything about vampires. But whatever, that's whatever. You know what I mean? There's holes that you know what I mean. There's holes. We don't know everything about the MCU, but I just feel iffy about it because of everything surrounding it. And all the other crap I just said.
Tyler.
Same. The placement is weird. It's the right before a big event. Normally, at least phase 1, 2, and 3, like the penultimate step before like the big event was like the setup. But I don't see Blade setting anything up other than like maybe phase 6, which could be darker. But like Blade himself, he's not really on any teams that we're gonna see. I don't think.
Yet. We might get the Midnight Suns.
Yeah. Oh, that's good. Yeah, Midnight Suns.
Saying, dude.
I would love to see that. Midnight Suns, man. I forgot about that.
Because we get a lot of supernatural stuff too. Like we got the first one was Doctor Strange, which was more magic and supernatural. But we got Werewolf by Night.
Yeah.
We're getting Blade. I mean, what else are we gonna get? Is there something coming up too? Another one.
I'm not sure, but Werewolf by Night did introduce more than just that character. He introduced like several characters.
Yeah.
Yeah, Man-Thing, the werewolf himself. What's it? Elsa Bloodstone.
Yep.
Were all introduced in Werewolf by Night, and that was something that I was going to bring up during this Blade talk. Is that like a possibility of seeing one or more of those characters in that?
And it could also set up maybe Ghost Rider too, because like we haven't heard about Ghost Rider, but I'm like, this is.
Please be Nicolas Cage.
That's what I think is gonna happen. I think we're gonna get variants in this one. Like maybe because it might set up variants, right? So whatever the effects are of Quantumania or whatever, because this sets up like the first Avengers movie, right? Kang Dynasty.
Yeah.
Maybe we'll see variants of Blade. We'll see Scythe Blade. We'll see another Blade. We'll see a bunch of whatever.
That's a good point.
Just a theory, though. But I'm like, okay, this is it is opening up the supernatural world, and like, that's what excites me about this. Was like, all right, we're gonna go into the dark side of the underbelly of Marvel, like the supernatural stuff, Ghost Rider, Blade, the black magic. I guess. Doctor Strange does whatever he does, but supernatural stuff.
For sure.
Yeah, he's certainly not out there fighting monsters that we've seen. You know what I mean? Doctor Strange, he's holding back dimensions and stuff, and have you like on that level or evil sword stuff like that. You know what I mean? Like, but we certainly haven't seen him fight like monster, like werewolves or vampires or anything of that like.
Or man things.
Or Teds.
Why is that the point of me? Any other comments, any other thoughts on this one before we move to the TV show side? All right. So to the TV show, according to Wikipedia, the first one is What If, early 2023, season 2, Electric Boogaloo.
There was a post-credit scene at the end of the first season. It was like Captain Carter sees a living Steve Rogers, and he's like corrupted like Winter Soldier. That's how it ended. So that's what we're picking up.
I didn't know that. I didn't see that, but again,
the post-credit after the last episode.
I need to watch that again because I just remember hearing there was 2 cut episodes from season 1, and those are being pushed to season 2. And there was an Iron Man one and a Gamora one, and I don't know why they explained it, but they're like, whatever. It didn't fit in a story. I'm like, what story? There's still old stories.
Right, it's just random stories.
Yeah, there's something that connected the last 2.
Right.
Yeah.
So, okay, towards what Tyler just said, I don't know, how do you guys feel like they're going to go back and revisit plot lines from the first season?
I don't think so. I think they're just gonna be doing other what ifs, what version. Maybe we'll start getting the X-Men. Maybe we'll start getting Daredevil. Maybe Spider-Man. I don't know, but I know they're bringing at least those 2 episodes. But that would be cool. I mean, that would be cool to
Because they
see.
did have that, because like you said, they did have that post-credit scene where it's like, here's a stinger of like a continuation of that, or I mean, episode or whatever that they had.
which was
So
the
I do
first.
think it's you're right. So I do think it's interesting. Like, well, will they return to some of these stories? You know what I mean? I guess maybe ones that they feel like are more popular, like maybe like that Captain Carter one, and then show us like, I don't know, that her version of the Winter Soldier. I guess, you know what I mean. But I don't know, especially with so much new ground for them to kind of cover. I think I saw something with like a artwork of like Shang-Chi in it or something like that too.
Cool.
That's what I'm thinking. I'm thinking we're gonna get a bunch of the new characters got introduced in Phase 4.
I thought What If was fun. The season we got, it was cool plays on certain things. Some things I didn't expect, like I loved the Who Done It. You know what I mean? What's his name? Is Ant-Man's killing everybody?
Oh my god, that was such a good episode.
All the Avengers. But it was cool. Some episodes were better than others. Some were kind of like, okay. And then the last 2 episodes where they kind of bring everything together is cool. I wonder if they will continue that story in any way. It doesn't seem like you need to. Or if there'll be a new team up at the end of this one, But my big question is, do you guys think that they will ever intersect with the greater MCU?
I think so. And I mean, until they make it canon, until they reference it in the movies, it's not canon for me, like I said. But I think they will, because why make these, like, why make What If? Because they kind of referenced it to a little bit in Multiverse of Madness, a little bit with the evil Doctor Strange.
I don't know. People say that. I don't feel like that because it's not him though. It's a different.
I mean, but it's another version of that though. It's a variant of the variant.
Yeah, I think what if is them just trying to teach the audience how multiverse works.
Yeah,
And
that's a good point too.
yeah, I mean, I would love for it to be a tie-in, especially with like Loki and that stuff. But I don't think it's setting anything up. Rather, it's just referencing.
I guess my thought would be, if they did it, probably, I feel like it'd probably be somewhere around like Secret Wars or something. You know what I mean? Like, now that we're bringing everything together, or now that we're referencing like everything, like maybe this will make it into there. You know what I mean? But my thoughts, my feelings, I don't think they're going to. I don't think they're ever gonna interact with What If. I'd like to be wrong about that, but yeah, I don't think they're ever gonna interact with it.
I think we're gonna see them. I feel, my theory is that we are gonna see something. Maybe not something directly, but just something. We will see something. I mean, we kind of saw Peggy Carter too, or Captain Carter in fucking.
Yeah, but it wasn't the same. That wasn't that Captain Carter though.
Yeah, but it's a variant of a variant though. Like, did you
like we understand that it's a variant,
right?
but it didn't intersect because it's not that character.
Exactly, that's what I'm saying though. Like, it's a different multiverse though. So it is a Captain Carter, but it's not the Captain Carter from What If, right? So yeah,
Right. And that's what I mean is, will a character from What If be in the MCU? That's what I mean. Will
I
a
think
character from What If, a straight up like drunk Las Vegas Thor, will we see him? Will we ever see someone like him? You know what I mean? Like that Thor,
I think we will see something. Maybe not. I think we will see something. I think that's what If is just doing. I think we will. I don't know what it is going to be. I have no, but I think we will. Yeah.
Sure.
All right. Anything else? No. Okay. The next one is going to be Secret Invasion. How do you guys feel? I just remember not being impressed. I'm like, whatever.
So that was my favorite thing about Captain Marvel is I thought they were setting up Secret Invasion in Captain Marvel with how involved the Skrulls were, and that would have been amazing, like immediate launching off point. Since this was like 8 years ago now, I don't know how long. It's like I'm over it, and the trailer didn't look very good to me. Like I mean, Sam Jackson is a lot of people forget like he was there since the beginning, and hopefully he'll be able to carry this. And hopefully it's not like what a lot of the Phase 4 stuff has been, which has been like the title character isn't the actual like protagonist of the episodes. I'm hoping like Sam Jackson actually has like why he's been up in space is because he's been preparing for the secret or something the whole time. I hope it's not just like a happenstance type of thing.
And I think like a takeoff of what you're saying, like I think they would be doing a disservice to that as well, because it's like Sam Jackson, like you said, has been a part of the MCU since the beginning, but he's also like a good actor. Like, you know, like people enjoy watching Sam Jackson do what he does to the point where they cast him to just be Sam Jackson and stuff like Snakes on a Plane. You know what I mean? Like, but it's like,
I forgot about that movie.
Right, you know what I mean? But it's like he's a gem on that level to where like, can someone like Sam Jackson carry a show like this? I think that Sam Jackson can. Will they let him? You know what I mean? Is another thing. You know what I mean? Like, will they let him carry this in a way and write it in a way that he can? I don't know. And I think that would be interesting if they do take it, like, you know, you were saying, like, hopefully he's been off in space trying to figure this out, or, you know, whatever this is. If they, you know, this seems like it's going to be on a smaller scale than like the comic book one was, you know, like something more self-contained. I think it'd be interesting I think what they set up, I'm hoping with the trailer, you know, there are trailers that don't show you much because there's nothing there. There are also trailers that don't show you much because they don't want to give some of the greater stuff about the series away. I hope it's the second one on this. I hope it's the second one. Because it does seem like it lends itself to a story that has a lot of twists and turns. And I'm here for that. I'm down for that. If you're gonna give me a spy thriller, it's been a minute since we really kind of got that. Like Winter Soldier was kind of like the last main one we got that was like that. And I'm ready for it. And I think some of these characters like can fit that. I think the Skrulls in that are kind of a terrifying enemy, because it's like, okay, like we're dealing with information. You don't know who to trust. You don't know who you can talk to because this person might straight up be like another being from another planet. You know what I mean? And that like seems really cool on that. And don't think this is going to have anything. I don't think this is really going to take its cues from Captain Marvel, which I think is like which will be a bit of a letdown. You know what I mean? That they had this kind of set up here that they just kind of did nothing with. But you know, I think they can retcon anything. You know, I think they can come in and say, "Oh, well, this dude was in the first movie and he was pissed that, you know, I don't know, who cares." He was, you know what I mean? It's like they can do anything. The Skrulls have seemingly been on since Captain Marvel was here in the 90s, right? It's like they could have been up to shenanigans like throughout the entirety of like the Infinity Saga, you know, that we didn't know, and they can kind of use this to kind of connect some dots on that level. But you know, I'm here for it. Not my excitement level isn't through the roof, but I you know I'm about watching it though.
Same. Because I just remember the trailer being like, this should have did nothing for me. I'm like, I don't, and I'm like, well, what am I know it's the trailer, but I'm like, what am I? It's very spy-y, for sure, but that's all I got from it. I'm like, I have no else what to base it on. and it just looks very spy. So I'm like, I don't know what the story is. I don't know what's at stake. I don't know. Which I mean, it's but I'm like, I don't know. But yeah. So I'm like, I like the cast. I like that they brought Emilia Clarke. I brought the what's her name? The English lady. She played the queen in the Crown. She's like in the middle of life. I can't think of her name. She's in I can't. I'll look it later. But all good actors. Like everyone in that is an amazing actor. I'm just like I'm like, I don't know. Reminded me of Robert Redford in Winter Soldier. I'm like, you guys, this awesome actor. So the fact that they have all these actors makes me feel actually pretty good. But at the same time, the Defenders has Sigourney Weaver. I'm like, really? So yeah, I feel very indifferent for Secret Invasion so far, but I will be watching it again because I need my Marvel fixes. Next one. Anything else? Any other comments? All right. Loki season 2. I did not care for Loki season 1, so I do not care for this season. I'm probably still gonna watch it, but I just do not care. Yes, that's my.
That's it. I think the first season of Loki did some really cool things. I also think they did some things that kind of put me off a bit too. I think Loki season 2 will. I feel like, well, I don't know. It's hard to say. It depends on how much they have. It has to do with like Kang, but I feel like it almost set itself up to be more removed from the MCU than like the season 1 was. You know what I mean? I feel like season 1 ends in a way that affects the entirety of the MCU, but I feel like they also like left Loki in a story where it like puts him in a place where he can have his own adventure and it not like kind of bother or be fettered by anything. If I had any hopes for Loki season 2, I would want to see more what if style adventures, like things where he's kind of like bopping into different like I don't know, timelines, realities, and like it kind of expands our view of like what those can kind of be. Um, I don't know what else I want from Loki season 2. I watched Loki because I like Tom Hiddleston. You know what I mean? I like his portrayal of that character. And so half their battle is that, you know what I mean? Half their battle is that putting him in a situation where he can kind of showcase his acting chops as that, you know what I mean? But beyond that, I feel like Loki will, yeah, I feel like Loki season 2, and that's just like a prediction of mine, like I said, will be further removed from the greater MCU than season 1 was. I feel like at best they'll use it to expand on the Kang lore a bit, but I don't know if they're gonna kind of do that. Because kind of like what we were talking about when we were talking about Ant-Man, like I do wonder the Kang that we get, will it be one Kang? Will it be a bunch of Kangs like over the course of like this phase or whatever? You know what I mean? Like will the Kang, if we see Kang in Loki season 2, will he be the same Kang from Quantumania? You know what I mean? Like, or is this going to be like a whole different Kang that we see, or like will we see multiple Kangs? You know what I mean? Period. Yeah.
Tyler.
Question. What comes out right after Loki? Is there a movie that comes out?
I don't know. I don't know what to Loki. Let me see if I can find something. But
when does Loki come out, or do you know that?
According only it says late 2023, mid 2023.
So like summer this year, kind of.
Yeah.
Around the Marvels, basically.
Around the Marvels, yeah.
Interesting. Well, I'll just say that I think Loki's post-credit scene is the best post-credit scene of any Marvel TV show.
What was that again? Remind me.
Yeah, what was that?
Yeah, Loki thinks he made it back to the what's it called?
The TVA.
Yeah. But then he's actually in an alternate TVA. And
Oh yeah, yeah.
like, who are you? And he's like, what? So he's now in Kang's, the evil Kang. So they killed like the good Kang, at least according to what he was saying at his death. And now Loki portaled back to the evil Kang's TVA.
Mm-mm.
So I just hope that instead of convoluting things even more, Loki actually will start clearing things up when it comes to this multiverse time travel stuff.
But like, give us some rules, maybe.
Yeah, and actually make people follow them.
um. Okay. The next one, I don't know what to expect. I just remember thinking. I just remember before we move on. I remember something that I read was that I guess the director and writer were surprised. They're like, "Wait, what? There's a season 2?" I think the director was. They're like, "I didn't know it was a season 2." I was not told. I found out when everyone found out that we're doing season 2. So I wonder what that means. Like you said, for the show, like what he's gonna be doing. Yeah, that surprised. I will watching that. I still be watching it for that reason. I'm like, all right, why? Why does so far it is the only Disney show to get a season 2 besides What If?
That true?
Yeah.
Yeah, nothing else.
Well, some of them make sense. They wanted to have a season 2. Yeah, you're right. Wow, I didn't think about that. Yeah,
All right.
Loki was really successful though. So.
Let me see where we're at. So, Ironheart.
Forgot about that.
Are they gonna actually do the CG like better than they did?
Dude,
I'm hoping we'll have a better suit though. Like, I know we were talking about me and Renee. I don't know if we talked about it on the show. I did forget that I didn't like the suit, like design. Like, well, I'm just hoping for a better suit because like they made her give in that movie, and I was thinking, well, probably because it's made out of vibranium, but she's gonna go home and make her own, I guess, the comic Ironheart suit or whatever. But I'm hoping that we just get a better suit, period. You know what I
dude,
mean?
that suit was so bad. That's what reminded me of the Power Rangers. I'm like, I've seen better suits. I've seen better CGI in Power Rangers than this.
You're right.
I was like, what was this?
I think it's just gonna be a whole big setup for Armor Wars, and that's like the
which is a movie now too. Which is instead of a show, it's a movie now.
Yeah.
A
Phase 6 movie, right?
I think so. Yeah.
Yeah.
Here we go. Echo.
Ironheart. About Ironheart.
You want to talk more about Ironheart?
Oh, I guess we just didn't even talk about it. We just like Ironheart is a show.
What else is there to talk about Ironheart?
Oh, you're right. I don't have anything to say about Ironheart.
I have something to say. I don't like Ironheart as a character, and then in the comics, she one thing that worries me about her in the MCU is she's just another like trait swap, same character.
Because she's black.
And gender swap too. But in the comics, she's like really annoying. Like she's just like, I'm just doing this because I'm smart. And whereas like Tony Stark became Iron Man because he was gonna die if he didn't do it, and he like had to like work from the ground up, building better and better Iron Man suits, whereas Ironheart's just taking existing technology and using stuff. And now I'm a superhero, and it's like, why?
She said so.
Yeah.
I've never read her. I've never read the comics. So I don't know.
Yeah.
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 Like, that's her. That's kind of cool. I like what I saw in the movie, but I've never read the comics, so I don't know.
Right. Well, it's Tony Stark. Like he's the last one to be replaced of the original Avengers, and I think like he was the glue that kept everything together.
But he had War Machine too. I mean, you have War Machine also, which is literally the same freaking armor.
Yeah, and that's Armor Wars. That's why I think Ironheart would be the setup for that. And in Armor Wars, this is a Phase 6 thing. I think we might see Rhodey die, but who knows?
Maybe maybe because it's the MCU, and this is just I don't know much about Ironheart. Didn't read any of the comics or whatever. Like my knowledge of Ironheart comes from memes and watching Black Panther 2. But maybe it'll feel better because Tony Stark is actually gone, like in the MCU. You know what I mean? Whereas the comics, it's like all these characters kind of exist together. And so it's like, what is the purpose of this character who is derivative of Iron Man if they're still Iron Man? You know what I mean? Like, and he's out there doing it big. Maybe in her show it'll feel better because like there is a void to be filled. You know what I mean? I don't know. But like I said, it remains to be seen. Also, she probably has ties to Wakanda a bit, which might be cool. But I don't know. I don't know Ironheart from A Hole in the Ground, to be honest. I know I hated her outfit in the movie. I know that.
I just hated that suit. That's all I got. I mean, I got again. Yeah, no. All right, moving on. Anything else on Ironheart?
Nope.
Okay. Echo.
Hope we see Daredevil, like not She-Hulk, like Daredevil, like Daredevil.
Can you? What do you mean by that? I don't understand.
Because like Matt Murdock and She-Hulk is not like himself. He
Can you? I don't know. What does that mean?
like he's whoever Jennifer Walters wanted him to be because she was in control of her own story in She-Hulk. So we got like diet Daredevil in She-Hulk. I hope we get like a real, like full of sugar soda Daredevil in Echo.
You want more like a more gritty, more like more in line with like Netflix Daredevil. You kind of seen there
Yep.
In Echo.
Yeah. And I want a real Kingpin, like not just the beach shirt costume Kingpin.
I can agree with that sentiment, definitely. I don't know what I want. I don't know. I want him to stretch out and give us a little more of what this because I from Hawkeye I don't know what Kingpin is. You know what I mean? Like from him in Hawkeye, like I don't know where he is. You know what I mean? And I would like to see a bit more. I do wonder how much Daredevil we're even gonna get because of even what I didn't expect as much of him that we got in She-Hulk, to be honest. But I wonder how much we're gonna get of him because A, we saw him in She-Hulk, and B, he's got 18 episodes coming of his own show. You know what I mean? Man, how much more screen time are we actually gonna give this man? He's kind of the only reason I even care to watch Echo. I don't know. Like Echo's another character I didn't know about until I saw her in Hawkeye, and like gotta tell you, didn't do that much for me in the level of I totally want to watch this series. I mean, whatever, assassin character doing badass things like is always cool, but I don't know. I got to see a trailer or something. But yeah, I'm with you. I want to see a better representation of Kingpin at least. See more Vincent D'Onofrio. Renee, your thoughts on Echo?
Echo. Okay, sorry. Yeah. So I was never a fan of her in the comics. I read. She showed up in Avengers, was Assembled, I think, or New Avengers. And I'm just like, all right, you're another disability with powers superhero. I think she right. So I'm like, okay, whatever. I mean, I did not care for that character. Like nothing against her or the actors. I just like I didn't care. Talking about Kingpin, I was just confused who that Kingpin was. Like, was it? I remember thinking. I was talking to you, TJ. I'm like, is that the Netflix Kingpin? Is that a different Kingpin? Because he acted the same like the Netflix Kingpin, but he survived the bullet. Like a bullet. Like what?
I know. I was like, dude, what is going on with this guy? Like, he got hit by a car. He got shot. He got blown up with a freaking grenade.
Exactly, and he was still steady. I'm like, so is this a mutant like Kingpin? Like, what is that? So with Echo, I'm gonna watch again, but I'm like, I'll probably be like this. Yeah, no, I'm watching it because it's Marvel. Make mine Marvel.
Make money, Marvel.
Let me see. Next one is Agatha, Coven of Chaos.
Uh,
I don't care for that show. Go ahead, go Tyler.
oh, that's it. That's all I want to say. 'Cause it just can't take it anymore. It's just I don't care about these people.
I have no idea whatsoever what to expect from this. It was a surprise to me that when they announced it, and I think it was called House of Harkness or something.
Yeah.
I was like, what? Like really, like what we got from her, like at the end of WandaVision. You know what I mean? Like now in WandaVision, for like 5 seconds, they go like 200 years ago, and I was like, what? Like, and they show like what was going on in Salem or whatever, you know what I mean, back in the day, and that really interests me because I like lore dumps and things that I'm into, like the MCU, but again, that was like 5 seconds long. If they can use the past to connect some dots in interesting ways, that'd be cool. If they bring in Elizabeth Olsen and she does some awesome, Scarlet Witch stuff and kills some people, that'll also be cool. But beyond that, like, I don't really care about Agatha as a character. That song was a bop. Yeah.
Yeah, same. I'm like, why do we need this show? Is this going to add anything?
Like, I don't know.
I'm like, is this show going to add anything to the saga? Is it just kind of like, I mean, but you know what? I could be wrong too. They could be presenting again the Midnight Suns, the supernatural side of things. Let me go that side. Let me play Devil's Advocate, Daredevil's Advocate.
Ooh, Foggy Nelson.
More supernatural stuff. I see we're getting more supernatural stuff at least every phase, once a phase. So we got 2 of this phase. In phase 5, Blade and this, and Howard Darkness. I'm like, maybe we'll see more stuff, maybe more monsters, maybe more supernatural stuff. Besides vampires and werewolves, what else is there?
Yeah, is this coming out around the same time as Blade?
I don't. It's 2024.
Yeah.
It's late 2020, late 2023.
Did you?
But all of this is this year.
Yeah.
Except for Daredevil, which is next year.
Yeah.
Which is the last show. Daredevil Born Again. All right. I am excited and most scared for this show because the Netflix show killed it. Season 3 was pretty slow. It took me like a whole week to finish season 3. I'm like, this is so boring. It was just season 3, and I think that it was a slow burn, and some episodes were way too long.
Yeah,
I don't know why, but
in the basement in the church was hard.
Yeah, I love seeing Daredevil. You know what? I don't care what people say. I love Daredevil and Shield. I thought that was funny. I thought that was an interesting side to see the lighter side of Daredevil, which they do in the comics too. Like there's the dark side and the gritty side, and the light side. So I like that. I don't know what to expect with this one because it's called Daredevil Born Again, but they already did Daredevil Born Again kind of in season 3. So that's why I'm like, I don't know where you good. And I hope they update the suit again because I do not like the yellow gold suit. That's just me. But I'm like, I don't know who we're getting back. I don't know if we're getting Foggy or Karen back. I only know we're getting Vincent D'Onofrio back for sure. But that's it. I don't know about the other 2. Karen Page.
I
think it has a lot on its shoulders, unfortunately for it. I think it's got a lot riding on its shoulders because of the Netflix series, which is also on Disney Plus that you can watch. You know what I mean? Like, and you can great version of that already on the same streaming service that this will be premiering on. So I think it has a lot on the shoulders because you're bringing these actors back, and people. And these are the same actors that played beloved versions of these characters, so it's going to be compared to what we already got, and it's Disney, so you already know you're not going to get something as gritty as what we got before. So they got big shoes to fill, you know what I mean? Like they have really big shoes to fill. So I'm worried for the series on that level, worried for the series on the level that, dude, you are going up against yourself. You know what I mean? You're going up against what you already killed it at. You know what I mean? Like, how can you? Like, how can you take on like something that you already did? You know, that's already beloved. It's already gonna be like held to the standard. That being said, 18 episodes, man, that's crazy. Like,
That's
especially
a lot.
like right for the MCU. I mean, especially, you know what I mean?
And
Like,
do we know if they're hour longs or if they're half an hour?
I don't think they've said.
It could be like She-Hulk too, where they're just like 20 minutes. And I
Oh, they
kind
were
of hope not.
kind of longer. They were like, wasn't it 20? I thought it was longer.
It was more like 20 to 30. It was like, yeah, it was like 20 to 30. It was like the same amount. It was like the same length as WandaVision.
Okay.
Like whatever short form, you know what I mean, kind of episodes. I don't know if Daredevil will be the same, but it's like we have yet to see what kind of show Daredevil is going to be. We have yet to even get a kind of hint as to what it'll be. I think maybe Echo will be a good hint as to what kind of show Daredevil will be. But yeah, we have yet to get a hint. Well, you know, we only know a couple of casting things. Vincent Daredevil. There's rumors that Christian Ritter is um, circling the Jessica Jones drain. You know what I mean? But like, who knows what that
Her
means?
and Mike Coulter, like there's a rumor that they two are coming Daredevil, or at least she's coming in Jessica Jones, and then Jessica Jones is gonna be in Loki's gonna be Jessica Jones. But didn't they also announce Jessica Jones, or am I just off that one too?
Not officially, I think.
Yeah, okay. Okay, because I heard Jessica Jones or Chris Ritter might be showing up in Daredevil, but that's a rumor too.
Right. You know. And so it's like, you know, casting, like especially with production, you know, casting can happen much later. You know what I mean? In the planning phase, casting happened like right before they start shooting. So the fact that we haven't heard anything about Foggy Nelson or Karen Page, I don't think is like completely damning yet. You know what I mean? Like, but but yeah, I stand by what I said. I have high hopes, but yeah, I think this show has it has some big shoes to fill. You know.
Tyler,
Same. Specifically with what CJ was saying about the big shoes. Like Daredevil came out before any of these Disney Plus shows, and a lot of fans are constantly complaining about how Marvel is being Disneyfied in these shows and how it needs to be more gritty, like Daredevil was, with especially with certain characters. And I feel like the stakes are the highest for Daredevil, as bigger than any of the other shows. Like bigger than some of the movies coming out. Um, and I think Disney knows that, and they know they need to get it right in order for fans to really hang on until like phase 6. Like they have to we have to get through, like, because there's been a lot of like stumbling um in other phases, and I'm sure Kevin Feige wants that $3 billion for um Secret Wars or King Dynasty, and you can't get there if you mess up Daredevil.
Yeah, I would agree. And it's like a lot of most, you know, most of the series, you know, and I liked a lot of them, but most of the series are divisive as far as how the fans like view them. You know what I mean? Like even my favorite, some of my favorite one, like WandaVision, the ending is divisive. Like people feel two ways about most of the Disney Plus Marvel series. You know what I mean? So it's like I don't know. You know what I mean? It's like I don't know. There's nothing to suggest that they won't about this too. Kind of, you know, is what. Um, but yeah, like I said, it's got big shoes to fill. It's got a lot of work to put in to be something that people feel is worthy of not only well of its own legacy. You know what I mean? Of Daredevil's legacy, let alone you know the MCU's legacy and moving forward with that. I do wonder how interconnected it would be because he's in a lot of stuff. You know what I mean? Like, it's like does that mean Daredevil is going to be important in some Wars?
Maybe.
Hope so.
I want to see them smash again.
Probably not in the theater though.
I said. Alrighty. Final comment, final thoughts about this episode of Phase 5 speculations from the FTC crew.
I mean, they got a lot of work. A lot of these are already on their way, but they got their work cut out for them. We'll see if it was really like until Phase 3 before we like saw like the big picture as a whole. They were like dotting Phase 2 with a bunch of like with the Infinity Stones, but they didn't really tell us what they were. So like I do kind of wonder about this being the multiverse saga, how deep we're gonna dip into that idea in I'll say Phase 2. It's Phase 5, but it's Phase 2 of the multiverse saga. I wonder how much they'll dip into that. I think they really only have like what Loki and Quantumania to even kind of broach the topic, but I'll be mindful of that as we go through this phase, certainly. Like, okay, this is called multiverse saga. How much is like pointing towards that, and whatnot.
Yeah, I'm worried about Phase 5 because I had high hopes for Phase 4, and it just didn't feel like anything had closure in that phase. And Kevin Feige is like, oh no, in Phase 5 we'll get that closure, a lot of that closure you wanted. But it's like when, like in Agatha, in Echo, like, and it just feels like I have to watch stuff I don't want to watch to, find out what happened like years and years ago. And I'm like, I will say in closing, I didn't get to say this about Agatha, something exciting. I don't know if you guys played the Midnight Sun video game yet, but Scarlet Witch is a huge part of it. And maybe Agatha, that'll be bringing Scarlet Witch back in as Agatha goes and tries to resurrect her or something. And that prospect is actually exciting for me to investigate in form of turning it on and trying to make it through that character.
Yeah, I didn't think about that. Like the fact that like where we left Agatha, like mind wiped or whatever or mind controlled by Scarlet Witch, and the fact that Scarlet Witch is currently like fake dead status right now. You know what I mean? Like fake dead or dead. So like that means that Agatha has probably been released from the spell she was under. So like I actually didn't think about that. The fact that she's probably like free and back to I get the stuff at the moment.
Interesting, very very interesting, everyone.
Also, she seemed to be working for someone, and before Wanda before she put her under the spell, it's like, no, you don't understand, like. But she's about to like kind of tell her like, you don't get what, like, yeah, I mean, like, and then boom, like you're under the spell.
Are we finally gonna meet Mephisto?
Right, you know what I mean, right? Mephisto. It'll be the little bunny rabbit she had. But like, so yeah, maybe we'll meet Mephisto, or like to bring in the Midnight Suns, Chthon or something like that. You know what I mean? Like might be interesting.
All right. Well, thank you guys for joining me. Thank you for joining out our Phase 5 speculations. We'll see you same fracking time, same fracking channel. Frack off.